If you're a high school basketball player that wants to show up next season better than you were last season, if you want to make next season maybe the best season you've ever had, then you need to work on your game over the summer. So today, I'm going to share 3 skill sets that you should be devoting some time to in your own development this summer. Let's jump in and discuss. Welcome back to Hard Smart Together. I'm Coach Dave. I'm here every week to help basketball players become the smart, confident players that coaches love. So today we're talking about carving out some time for your own player development, for your own self-development this summer. Okay? And the first thing I want to talk about is you got to dedicate some time to this. Okay? You've got to dedicate some time to your own development over the summer if next year you want to show up next season better than you were last season. If you want to show up and have a great season and accomplish all those goals that I'm sure you have for yourself. And there's really 3 distinct areas that I think you should be dedicating some time to this summer that are areas of your game that are skill sets. Okay, and we're going to talk about today what those skill sets are and some ways that you can work on them over the summer. And because if you spend all summer just playing games, just playing open gyms, just playing on the AAU circuit, and all your time is spent playing basketball, you are going to improve a little bit just by playing. But if you want that drastic improvement, if you want to take a leap in your game, then you need to dedicate this time, carve out some time. We'll talk about 3 distinct areas of your game and dedicate yourself to kind of your own player development. Now, before I get into those 3 skill sets, I always like to give you a free gift. I've got a download, which is 8 intangible skills that coaches love seeing in players. So if you are working on your game over the summer, this is a great place to start. It comes in a checklist form. It gives you some ideas of how you can implement these skills. And like I said, you show up next season with these skills and you're going to be one step ahead of the game. I put a link in the description below where you can simply go to hardsmarttogether.com/intangibles and I'll be sure to get you that download. Now, the first skill set that you should be devoting some time to is your on-court skills. And this is one you're like, well, yeah, everybody works on their on-court skills. And you're right. That's where the majority of players spend their time, on the court developing their skills. But I'm going to talk about some specifics that you should, take into account on your workouts this summer. So one is you need to schedule your workouts. Schedule them with yourself, right? Decide how much time you want to do on-court work, okay? It might be a couple of times a week. It might be 5 times a week. It might be for an hour at a time. It might be for 2 hours at a time. But unless you schedule, make an appointment with yourself, you're probably not gonna, they're gonna slip. You might not get it done. You might not spend the whole time. So make an appointment with yourself in order to work on your on-court skills. Okay, that might be with a trainer, that might be with a coach, that might be with a parent, another teammate, or it might be just you on your own working on your game. Any of the above, that's okay, but make the appointment with yourself and keep that appointment. Number 2, work on skills that you need to improve on. Take an honest assessment of areas of your game that you know you need to work on. You know it just weren't up to your standards last season, okay? That could be defense, that could be passing, that could be, ball handling, that could be, getting into the paint with jump stops. That could be shooting, that could be improving your free throw shooting, any number of areas, right? But if you're always working on the things that you're good at, you're never going to bring up those skills that you need to improve upon. So work on, make an honest assessment. Talk to your coach. Say, where are some areas of my game that I really need to improve upon on the court? And work on those things. Not only schedule the time, but carve out time to work on the different aspects of on-court work. And then the third piece of working on the court is track your progress. We've talked about this in the past. Track your progress, because the best competitor you will ever face is you yesterday. So you might just be, tracking the fact that I showed up and I did these things and I'm checking them off. But a lot of drills, you can kind of track your progress and look at, how was I last week? How was I 2 weeks ago? How many shots did I make in this drill? How many times did I make a mistake in this drill? How many times did I fumble? Whatever it is, and see how you're progressing. One, to get you excited about the progress you're making, but it'll keep you moving in the right direction. The second skill set I want you to carve out some time this summer for is working on your basketball IQ. And you're going to say, well, how do I work on my basketball IQ if I'm not playing games? I mean, isn't it? Well, number one, we talk a lot about basketball IQ, smart topics on this channel. So maybe it's as simple as, I've been wanting to watch some of those videos on tempo and how it affects, the game. I've been wanting to watch some of those, different bad habits you might have and how to change them to a good habit. I've been wanting to watch, some shot selection videos that Coach Dave has talked about. Whatever the case might be, just go back and dedicate, I'm going to watch a video every week, okay? That's one way to work on your basketball IQ, just learning more about basketball IQ topics. The second way is go watch some video. Dedicate some time to watching video. We talk a lot about watching video on this channel, right? It could be, if you've got some game film from you last year, reviewing maybe some mistakes you were making, that's okay to look at that and see what you need to work on. Maybe, some of these bad habits that you need to create good habits instead. You could watch other games, right? And watch for end of game situations, shot selection, these bad habits, any tempo, how it's affecting each team. All types of basketball IQ related things that you can draw out of watching film. So dedicate maybe an hour or two a week to watching film as well, and carve out that time and make that appointment with yourself to do it. Put it on the calendar. Then the third skill set that I want you to carve out time and dedicate yourself to is your mindset, or the way you think, right? We're talking about these on-court skills. We're talking about, how to apply them with basketball IQ, but your mindset is equally important. And that is, maybe how you play under adverse conditions, right? How you develop your confidence, how you look at the process of improving, of your own self-development. There's a whole range of mindset topics and how you think that you can work on. Now, how do you work on mindset? Well, dedicate some time. Again, we have a lot of mindset topics on this channel. So you could go back and watch some mindset videos from this channel. Number two, there's a bunch of podcasts and resources that are mindset related, sports mindset podcasts. Find a favorite podcast and listen to that. One episode a week, a couple of episodes a week. And then we've talked about the benefit of meditation and visualization. Maybe go back and review that video and carve out some time on a daily or a weekly basis for practicing meditation and practicing visualization, okay? Or simple as this, read a book this summer which is related to mindset and performance. A great book that Steve Kerr, the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, recommends to his players is The Inner Game of Tennis. You're gonna go, wait, tennis? I'm talking basketball. No, great book for, overcoming self-doubt, which we talk a lot about, for performing at your, peak level at all times, which we talk about. So you could do something as simple as this summer, I'm going to read that book, and that's my mindset time. I'm going to carve out, 10, 15 minutes a day to read, or I'm going to watch a video, or I'm going to listen to a podcast. Okay? So here's 3 areas of your game. Yes, I want you out there playing the game as well. I want you on that AAU circuit. But if you really want to show up next year, and you want to have the best season ever, and you want to see that improvement that you made over the summer, then carve out some time for each of these areas, and I guarantee you, you'll show up much better, much more confident. And that's what I got for you this week. Now, I love the likes, I love the comments. If there's an area, here's a question for you. If there's an area of your game, one of these 3 areas that maybe you haven't spent enough time at, leave me a comment below and let me know which one you haven't spent enough time at and which one maybe this summer you're gonna spend more time at. And until next week, remember to play hard, play smart, and play together. See you next week.